Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my typical eyebrow routine. This is the thing that I do when I do a full face of makeup. There are some days where I just kind of run some clear brow gel through, but this is going to be like my full start to finish routine that I usually do. I decided I wanted to go ahead and do this just because I do kind of skip through my eyebrows in my other tutorials. Honestly, just because it's the hardest part to film for me. I'm still trying to work out my angles to make sure that I can get it. So hopefully today's video will work out. Okay, so just a quick background in eyebrows really quickly. Just about, honestly, mine personally. So my brows, let me zoom you in. So as you can see, my brow hairs are extremely sparse and extremely thin. If I brush them out, you can see how long they are. And I have cut them short, honestly, a few times, and what happens when I cut them short, especially at the tail, is I literally lose my brow. Like, can you see if I were to cut that short, I would lose my brow. So I just go ahead and leave them long. And you can also see that I have a lot of sparse hairs around the outer edges. Honestly, the reason that I have these hairs is I'm trying to grow out my eyebrows, especially in the outer tail because it is so thin. So right now I'm just kind of letting them grow, thicken up, and get to a point where I can actually go back and pluck them into the shape that I desire. I just want to talk about a background on how to, like a rule of thumb for when you're doing your eyebrows and when you're filling them in. If you want to take the eyebrow pencil and you want to go ahead and just line it up with your face quickly to make sure that you know where your arch is going to go, when your inner corner and outer corner will go as well. First thing I do is just go ahead and rest this on the side of my nose. And then as you can see, that lines up perfectly with the inner corner of my eyebrow. So that means that I don't want to draw any farther in and not any further out. That way we can stay as natural as possible and just follow the direct line of our brow. Next up is we want to go ahead and move it to angle. So we're going to keep it at the base of our nose and just go ahead and get it to like the middle of our eye here. And you can see that is where our arch is going to be. Now, me personally, I don't have an arch in my brow. I just kind of have like a straight across brow. So this is where I know that I maybe need to draw a little bit more upward and then shade a little bit more on top and give a little bit more of an arch to achieve the shape that I want. And now for the outer corner of the brow, go ahead and keep your pencil right at the edge of your nose and then go to the outer corner of your eye. Do you see how that works? And then that is where the outer corner of your brow should stop. So then that means, just like with the inner corner, we don't want to bring it any farther out and we don't want to shorten it in too much. If you follow those three rules when you're actually doing your brow, if you maybe just want to make marks for yourself, that will make sure that your brow is as natural for your face shape as possible, and also to make sure that the shape of the brow isn't too off when it comes from doing this brow to this brow. It'll make them be as even as possible. If you want to see how I do my eyebrow routine and maybe get some tips and tricks along the way for yourself, just keep watching. So just to start off, I usually do my eyebrows after I put on my foundation, just because I like to go back and clean them up with a little bit of foundation or concealer on my brush, just to make sure that the outer edge and everything is nice and crisp. I really like the look of a nice, crisp outer corner. So besides my zit, I'm currently trying to grow out my eyebrows, and this is like the most painful experience for me because there's just hair everywhere. And I'm really trying to keep it really nice and smooth, really nice and controlled and everything, but you can kind of see around here that there's just kind of like crazy hairs everywhere. Let's go ahead and just get started. Like I said, I usually start my brows after my foundation, but for the sake of the video, I am going to do them before. It really doesn't matter, you can do them whenever you want. But I'm comfortable doing it both with my foundation on and without.
What I like to use for my brows are eyebrow pencils, so I usually use the Anastasia of Beverly Hills pencil in caramel, which is what I'm using here right now, and then I also do use a NYX micro brow pencil, sorry. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and underline my brow, so you can see that I am taking the caramel pencil by Anastasia of Beverly Hills, and I'm just going to quickly underline the brow just to give it some definition and shape, and then go ahead and do short, small strokes to kind of fill in the brow and give it a little bit of extra definition. Next, I am going to overline the brow to give it a little bit extra shape, especially because my brows are so thin. So what I'm doing right now is I'm really going to define my arch and then connect it to that outer tail for a really nice crisp look. When you're doing this, Don't be afraid to be a little bit messy because we can also go back with concealer, foundation, or just a makeup wipe and clean this all up later to make sure that everything is really nice, defined, and clean.
Okay, so there is that, and oh my goodness, they look super crazy right now. Half of it is because we're not done, and half of it is because, well, we don't have any other makeup on, so our brows are naturally gonna look a little bit crazy without any other makeup on, but that's okay, just keep going, it'll be fine. Something that you might notice is my right eyebrow kind of droops towards this outer edge on the brow bone, while as my left does kind of perk up a little bit more. The way that I fix that is when I do go in and I highlight underneath my brow bone, I like to make sure that this is a little bit more intense and a little bit higher, and then when I clean it up, I do make this a little bit more skinny, just so that they can match. Now, it's something that a lot of people don't notice. You're probably thinking, I can't even tell, but it's something that I notice. It's just like a personal preference.
Alright, and now for honestly a completely unnecessary step, I'm going to add in a darker pencil. This is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in chocolate, and I'm just going to help define the arch. And now you can see I did make a little bit of a misstroke, but that's okay. Like I said, we can clean it up later. So I'm just going to re-underline from the arch out to the tail just to give everything a little bit more definition and make it a little bit more bold of a look. Now for the make or break part of your brows, the inner corner. So I'm also using another NYX Micro Brow Pencil. This is in Taupe, which is a lighter shade. I'm going to actually turn my pencil sideways and do light-handed strokes to mimic the look of regular brow hairs. And then I'm just going to blend this into the rest of my brow very, very lightly. And I'll actually go back and comb it out later. And as you can see, it honestly just gives the inner portion of the brow a little bit more definition as compared to our other brow that hasn't been done yet. And now we'll just comb it out to make sure that everything, like I said before, is nice and blended.
Next thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and clean it up. Now, if you haven't done your foundation, you can absolutely use a makeup wipe to do it. The reason that I don't use these today is because I have these long fingernails on and it kind of inhibits me from getting a perfect crisp line. So I am going to take some concealer. I'm going to use the Naked Skin Concealer from Urban Decay. Wait. Okay. And then I'm going to use this Ulta concealer brush. I think it's from Ulta. I've had this forever. I use this for my brows every single time I do them. I cannot live without this, and I am just going to place some concealer on the brush and then go in and fix everything.
So now with a little bit of concealer and a flat shader brush, I'm going to go ahead and just lightly trace the underside of my brow, really just to focus on that outer edge and that outer corner, just to make everything, like I said before, really crisp and clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over top of it as well to make sure that we can add a little bit of highlight to our brow bone just to lift everything. And just in case we did miss stroke somewhere, we can go ahead and fix that as well.
I'm going to go finish the rest of my makeup and then I'll come back and then we'll finish, all right? I finished the rest of my makeup. So everything is on, just a really easy daytime, really nothing on the eyes or anything like that. But as you can see, brows don't look crazy in your face anymore. Everything's kind of blended together. But yeah, you can tell how defined they are. I did a really nice brow highlight with one of my favorite highlighting colors just to give the brows a little bit of extra oomph. But yeah, so that is my brow routine. Hopefully this helps, especially for the people that really wanted to see it in my other tutorials. It's just really hard for me to film. The angles are weird. It's really hard for me to get the mirror where I want. And I hope this gave you a couple tips or tricks. And let me know if there's any questions or anything or any other requests that you have. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye.